Nassau County Executive Bruce Blakeman invites you to mark 1 year since Hamas attacked Israel on October 7th. Join us as we come together this Monday, October 7th at 6 p.m. at the Harry Chapin Lakeside Theater in Eisenhower Park. Let's stand together in solidarity with Israel and those held hostage Monday, October 7th, 6 p.m. at Eisenhower Park. For more information, visit nassaucountyn.gov.
It's a common sense recap of the big stories. It's Katz and Cosby on 77 WABC.
And joining us now here with some big breaking news is the founder of Just the News, John Solomon. John, you have some interesting stuff on how FEMA, of course, which is dealing with all the storms, got into the illegal immigrant business. Explain.
Yeah, listen, a lot of the lawmakers who were out on television the last few days saying this is an outrage that we spent $600 million of FEMA money on housing and providing other benefits to people who have unlawfully crossed the border. They actually voted for the plan. They just didn't know that they had voted for it in the omnibus spending bill, one of those catch-all kitchen sink bills that Congress has gotten used to spending money in. In March, $600 million was appropriated. It was slipped in there by the Biden administration with Democrats in the Senate, and House Republicans, over 100 of them voted for that money, which put the FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, normally reserved for just disasters, in the business of becoming a concierge service and doling out money for illegal aliens who are in the country unlawfully. So it's a huge amount of money. It's one of those great stories. The Democrats
John,
in 2022.
it's mind-boggling that $600 million line item like that just goes right through, and everybody votes for it because they didn't know what the heck they voted for. Don't forget what Nancy Pelosi says. I want you to vote for the bill so then you can find out what's in it. Because she made those people vote for the bill not knowing what was in it.
Yeah, it was this big, huge bill, and it was woven in it.
It says once you vote for it and it's passed, then you'll find out what's there.
That's stunning. So what happened with this $600 million? I mean, and at a time where
it's done.
Yeah, it's done. And where they're dying now, right now, they desperately need help. I mean, you're looking at what's going in North Carolina. They got another storm in Florida.
Rita, they could find the money if they want to find it.
Well,
I mean,
that's a very important point that you made,
So the question is, why does the President Biden or Vice President Harris don't want to find it to help the people of our country?
Yeah, John, you are on to something that's very important. You heard the Homeland Security Secretary, Alejandro Mayorkas, the same guy that claimed the border was closed when it clearly wasn't. He said last week, we're running out of money. We will not have money even to finish Hurricane Helene, never mind Milton. Well, in August, that secretary, Alejandro Mayorkas, and the Congress were told by the Department of Homeland Security Inspector General, the chief watchdog for the department, that there was more than $7 billion in emergency funding that went unspent from earlier crises that could just be reappropriated and put to the storm. So another classic dynamic in Washington: claim you're out of money, even though there are bunches of money hidden away in quarters that have not been spent. Imagine being the Homeland Security Secretary and not knowing you hadn't spent $7 billion that Congress gave you earlier, and you could have grabbed that. That's how dysfunctional budgeting, spending, and governance in Washington has become.
But you know what's disgusting, guys, is that at the same time, we have spent $3 billion for the Taliban. We just sent $154 million when Kamala Harris said, we're going to give humanitarian aid. I thought it was for North Carolina. It was for Lebanon. I mean, explain. They can find the money, to John's point, if they want to.
Even worse, the money going to the Ukraine and the accusations made to Congress that the Ukraine is kicking back money someplace under Act Blue.
And Zelensky just got $8 billion just recently. Another to add to the $200 billion with a B, John. I mean, that's astounding, John. You know, they're dropping money everywhere. What about American citizens?
That's why Donald Trump, I think, has connected with so many everyday citizens when saying that the United States government often puts America last. The money goes out elsewhere, and then we're scrambling to try to find it for our own citizens when crisis hits at home. It's an extraordinary dynamic. And listen, it's been going on for 30 years, right? We have not had a budget in Washington passed the normal way, the way the Constitution requires it, in 3 decades. We've got addicted to spending through all of these supersized bills that nobody knows what's in them, and then we use crisis by crisis to run up the debt, to run up the spending, and to get basically spending approved under extraordinary, almost extortion-like circumstances. People are pressured to vote for something that they don't even know what it's about. It's why we're at $35 trillion and counting in national debt.
And John, I want to switch gears because you had another thing about also how they are looking. The FBI is on the hot seat trying to figure out and get some answers about these Trump assassins and potential ties to Iran. Explain why, obviously, that is so important. And are we ever going to figure that out? Because, of course, the guy in Florida, it looked like had some ties, at least through Iran, to bring these Afghan fighters to Ukraine. The other guy, remember, there was a threat, obviously, the Pakistani guy with threats to, we know they're threats to President Trump.
Yeah, listen, first off, this is a very clear sign that Congress and many Americans don't trust the FBI investigation, because the House Intelligence Committee chairman said yesterday, you, FBI, be sure you run every lead to ground, because we need to know without question, without equivocation, whether or not these two assassins that have been charged with trying to kill President Trump actually had ties to Iran. Why do they have that? Well, we know that the first assassination on July 13th attempt, that's the one in Butler where the assassin was ultimately killed, Mr. Crooks, that one day earlier, the FBI rolled up a man they had led into the country previously under special permission because he had been out working on a plan to assassinate President Trump. The day before Crooks started shooting from that roof, the FBI rolled up a man who was involved in that. And then the second assassination attempt occurs in Florida 2 months later, and we learn that that gentleman, Mr. Ruth, he actually had wrote a book in which he embraced the idea that Iran should kill President Trump, and he actually suggested that he would give an award if someone could succeed at it. Those data points, those very specific data points, and the fact that one of the shooters, Mr. Crooks, had these 3 foreign encrypted apps on his phone, have led a lot of people in Congress, a lot of people in the security world to be concerned that Iran may have been secretly involved. Yesterday, the House Intelligence Committee chairman made it clear, FBI, get us a real answer. If we don't believe it, we're going to investigate it ourselves.
You bet. Well, John Solomon, keep us posted. You always have the greatest scoop. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Thank you.